Hey peeps, it's Jasmine. So have you ever noticed that with depression, it's just it feels weird. Like you don't know who you are as a person when you're depressed. You know what the world is. You know how the world feels, what the world really is when you're depressed. But you don't know who you are when you're depressed. I feel like that is the main thing about crawling that I've picked up. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, or whatever your interpretation of crawling is in the comments. Please let me know. I have always identified, as we all have, with Chester's anger. He never wanted to be depressed as we do. You don't want to be depressed. We don't want to be depressed. We don't want to feel that sense of loss, that sense of who we don't know who we are anymore. When we feel so completely empty. And then there's Into Dust by Mazzy Star. That song, if you've never heard it, you have to go listen to it because it's deep in in a way that it gets into your skin. In a good way though. It kind of settles. It talks about, at least in my interpretation, it talks about being lost in the nothingness and how just fade away when you're depressed. You lose yourself. You lose who you are when you are depressed. You fade into dust. And even though it's kind of terrifying to think about it like that, it makes sense. It makes sense because you- you're, it feels like you're searching for yourself when you're depressed, but you can't find yourself. You're trying and you're trying and you're trying to reach for something that's not there anymore. And you don't know why it's disappeared. You're feeling all these feelings that you don't want to feel. Does it go away? I don't know. I guess it depends on your medication. But sometimes, at least for me in my experience, even with my medication, those feelings don't go away. They stay. I have to sit with those feelings. I have to sit with those thoughts until they fade. And that, I feel, is what Into Dust is really about. How you fade into literally nothing when you are depressed. For me, I call my depression the hole because it's just darkness. And even when I look up and I see that light, I can't get there. I'm trying to find things to climb on, and I can't find anything to climb on. I can't, there's no rope, there's no ladder, and I just can't get out. So I have to kind of sit with my emotions until the things fade away and I can feel better the rest of the day. I don't know. This is my interpretation. Check out the song Into Dust by Mazzy Star and you'll see what I mean. Just, if you ever check that song out, which you really should, tell me what your interpretation of that song is. Okay. See you later.